For those who don't remember, her former lawyer, Michael Avenatti. But she doesn't seem nervous. I mean, she says she's ready. She does have some experience. What kind of witness do you think she's going to be?
I think she'll be a good witness because, remember, I don't think Donald Trump is denying that she was given money. The issue is whether or not that money was covered up, whether or not his business records were falsified, saying that they were legal expenses. So the reality is the main witness in terms of these falsification of business records is Michael Cohen.
Let's talk about Michael Cohen. Temadayo, he admitted to lying under oath. He's talked about that. He says it's a small thing in a big case, but is it necessarily in the eyes of the jury? And we have seen him before. We've seen him on TV. We know he testified in a civil case. What kind of witness is he going to be, and how difficult might he be for the prosecution?
So, I think it's always complicated when you have a witness who admits to lying, because any defense lawyer is going to say, OK, so first off, you admit you are a liar, right? And you're under oath. And so you're saying you were lying then and you're lying now. But prosecutors are well trained of how to prepare witnesses, of how to get them ready for the stand. And I think Michael Cohen will be a good witness. The question will be, is the jury going to see him as someone who is biased, who has an axe to grind against a former boss? Or is he someone who's going to come to the light, who now sees the truth and wants to be honest and foretelling? And that's going to be the job of the jury to decipher between those two options.
I'm curious from both of you. Feel free to weigh in. There is something, the celebrity effect. And look, Michael Cohen, Stormy Daniels, they're not Donald Trump, but chances are they're probably known to at least some of the people on the jury, right? There is something about seeing someone who's been in the news in person, the reaction you get to that. Might that play into this, and will it play into jury selection?
I think it definitely, particularly with Michael Cohen, who is on TV all the time, any chance he can get. So if I'm the defense attorneys, I'm definitely going to ask about that, because he is clearly biased, and he admits it, against Donald Trump. He trashes Donald Trump every chance he gets. So that's going to play into, have you seen Michael Trump? And they'll say, yeah, I just saw him, on MSNBC last week, and he said how horrible Donald Trump is. So that will play into that. I think Stormy Daniels less. Quite frankly, this is the first time I've seen her in a while. It's Michael Cohen who's all over the place.
She does have, though, there's a new documentary. I'm not doing a little push for Peacock, which is also owned by this company, but on Peacock. Does it have an impact on the jury and the jury selection?
Yeah, I think it certainly will. I mean, in any high-profile case, it is hard to find jury members who know absolutely nothing, who've been under a rock. The question is whether those jurors, if they have some exposure, can set that to the side. And it can go both ways, right? There are folks who may look at Michael Cohen and think he's biased, and they may look at Michael Cohen and think he's a victim. And I think so both sides are going to be trying to understand and unpack, what do these jurors know about these people before they got there? And is it helpful or not? Because if you're one side, you may want someone who sees it favorably, and if you're the other side, you're not going to want that.
Catherine Christian, Temadayo Aganga-Williams, it is going to be fascinating, and I can't wait to talk to you more about it as we get closer. Thank you both.
Hey, everyone. MSNBC has a new and improved app. You'll get real-time alerts and analysis, live blogs, in-depth essays, video highlights, and the best 2024 election coverage. Download the new MSNBC app. Here's how to do it. You tap on the App Store on your phone. You hit search on the bottom right corner. You type in MSNBC. You click on the MSNBC app. You click on Get or the cloud icon and enjoy it.